Welcome back. This time we're talking about A Monster Calls, directed by J.A. Bayona and based on the novel by Patrick Ness, who adapted his own work for the screenplay. Now, in the waning weeks of 2016 and going into 2017, as we continue to get a bunch of Oscar bait holdovers, there have been two trends that I've noticed with movies lately. The first is stories about people mourning lost loved ones, whether it's Collateral Beauty, Arrival, Jackie, and Manchester by the Sea. The second is strong performances from young, mostly unknown actors, such as those found in Moonlight and Lion. A Monster Calls exemplifies both of these trends, first with a story focused on a young boy dealing with the very strong likelihood that his mother will soon die of cancer, and second with an incredibly strong lead performance from Lewis MacDougall in only his second movie. In addition to his performance, the film can also boast an incredibly emotional and thought-provoking script that is told in an imaginative and very visually stunning way. As I mentioned earlier, there have been a lot of movies this season dealing with grief, but I don't think I've ever seen a movie deal with this particular version of grief and do so in such a new and, again, imaginative way. I was honestly taken aback by how well this movie handles its material. The main character is Connor, played by MacDougall, and at the beginning of the movie he is living alone with his mother, who is dealing with a very serious disease, presumably cancer. With her sickness progressing, he has had to take up more and more responsibility at home, while his life at school is not much better as he's dealing with bullies and trying to process this entire situation. One night, he is visited by the monster, and it's only ever referred to as the monster, voiced by Liam Neeson, who is the embodiment of this tree that is growing next to a church near his home. The monster tells him that he's going to continue to visit him and tell him 3 stories, at the end of which Connor is going to have to tell him his own story. And the film as a whole does a really good job of tying in these various stories, as well as dealing with the real-life issues that Connor is having to deal with, whether it's his mother's sickness, the arrival of his grandmother, played by Sigourney Weaver, the bullying at school, his outburst, his anger, his sadness, his guilt, all of these other emotions that are roiling inside him at a very young age where he really can't process it that well. And while this film sounds like it's going to be utterly depressing, but the way they go about telling this story, involving metaphors and allegories and these various stories that he hears, and then some of the revelations at the end involving Connor's story, gives the audience, if not a sense of hope for now, at least a hope that one day there might be hope. And as I alluded to earlier, there's the way they tell the story and then the visuals, where they use a lot of watercolor drawings to visualize the monster's stories. Everything just comes together. The performance, the visuals, the story, everything to just make a wonderful movie. This is not the type of movie that I would normally recommend to families, but if you think your children are of an age where they can handle this type of material, dealing with the potential loss of a parent, I have to recommend it because it is a phenomenal movie. I'll go as far as to say that if it doesn't make my list for the top 10 movies of 2016, since this is technically a 2016 movie, it's going to just miss that list. I went in hoping for a good movie. I did not expect this to be a potential top 10 movie, but that's what it is. It just, everything works. Now, if you've seen A Monster Calls, what did you think about it? As always, you can subscribe to my channel, check out some of my other reviews, and until next time, I'll see you at the movies.